True, John. All right, let's start with Europeans last night. I want to start with the 5K. Jakob Ingebrigtsen running second race in 2 days. He ran the 1500-meter prelim the day before. Made it look easy, running 55-second last lap to qualify for the finals. He's in the 5K final. And hey, this isn't the World Championships. It's the European Championships. You're thinking, okay, this should be a cakewalk, right? Considering as a 17-year-old, he did win the 1500 and 5K double at these same Euros. But, John, this field is pretty good, and it's led by, well, the challengers are led by Mohamed Couture, who got the bronze medal at Worlds in the 1500. He's run 12:50 for 5K. So, right there, I'm like, okay, this isn't a cakewalk.
Yeah, on the back straight. I mean, Couture put up a good fight. Jakob did what he always does. He tried to ratchet it down. He went to the lead with about 1,000 to go. He ran 60.26 for his third to last lap, then 59.46 for his second to last lap. That's what he's so good at, is really upping the pace. And then, there are a bunch of guys, I'm sure, in this, well, maybe not in this race, but there are a bunch of guys in the world who can run their last 400 over 5,000 meters in 53 seconds, but very few of them can do it after going 60.59 the two previous laps. That's what Jakob did. He did 60, 59, and then 53.74, 223 final kilometer, 357.0 final 1600. But with 200 to go, Mohamed Couture was right on his shoulder. And I was thinking, I'm like, well, it's championship racing. This is why we watch. Look, Ingebrigtsen's the best guy in the world. I expect him to win, and he did pull away and won relatively comfortably in the end. But this is why we tune in, because you never know if someone's going to pull a Jake Whiteman and go by and have his own move. And Couture didn't have that, but he put up a big fight. But Jakob was just so damn good, man. I mean, it's just really, it's like poetry in motion. Just watching him close it down and run away from everyone. It was very similar to what he did at the World Championship final in Eugene, except minus the water stops. But 223 final 1K, 53 last lap. I think that might have been a little faster than he ran in Eugene, but it was a very similar race and well-deserved title for Jakob.
It was masterclass performance. I mean, I was devouring some of the stuff on the message boards. Some of the posters, and I agreed, like, has anyone ever in the history of the world looked smoother running 60 seconds per lap? It just looks effortless for him. And Couture is a very smooth runner too. And he's just right there with 100 to go. And Jakob has shown no acceleration. It just seems very smooth the whole time. And you're like, whoa, if there's a burst of speed, maybe he can get beat. But the acceleration was just very gradual by Jakob the final 100 and just blew him away.
Yeah, the difficult thing with Jakob when you watch him run is it is hard to gauge how fast he's running because he just looks so smooth the entire time. And you need to look at the other athletes behind him, essentially either the gaps he's creating or how their form is changing to figure out how fast he's going. One guy that does come to mind, Weldon, is Matthew Centrowitz. He could run 52 or 63 and it would look the same to me. He's another guy who just, his form is always very smooth, very rarely breaks down. But watching this Ingebrigtsen race, like you said, there was some good message board posts about this. One thread I enjoyed was, how do you beat Jakob in a championship 5,000? Because, when he takes the lead like this, like, unless it's super, super fast, he can just go to the front with 1K and kind of control things. And that's kind of what we saw with Mo Farah. Farah wouldn't always drop it to a 69.50, but this was the question by XCFan2233. So outside of Cheptegei rediscovering his 12:35 form, how can you beat him in a championship race? I think it's important that you try to prevent him from controlling the race from the front, but that's easier said than done. He also might be the best time trier in the field after seeing him dispatch most of the Olympic podium in Florence last year with a 12:48. So let's see you're the coach of the Ugandan Federation next year. What do you tell Cheptegei, Kiplimo, Chalimo to do in order to beat him? And I think that's a great question because, again, Like, if you want to get in front of Jakob, that means you need to be running like 58 or 59 second pace with 3 or 2 laps to go. There aren't a lot of athletes who are going to want to do that and then still have something left for a kick. And I thought the best response to this question was from Salvatore Stichmo. He said, "You need to force him into changes of pace that disrupt his rhythm. And if he leads with 500 to go in the same way with Farah, he's almost unbeatable. When he makes moves around the field, you simply have to match his impetus and make him chop his stride to markedly accelerate to get by you. Rhythm based pace grinders or squeezers like Jakob hate having to change their cadence and make multiple short bursts of acceleration during the race. In that final, it was obvious the final 80 meters, Katia wouldn't have won either way, but I don't know why he wouldn't at least try to make it interesting by going back past him with a short burst down the back straight. You almost have to do the double kick, which is kick past someone, and when they accelerate to match, you ready themselves, you kick again. Obviously, you need to be really good to do this, but there are guys out there with the lungs to do it and the ability to train for at least attempting it. But save for a 12:45 sub 12:45 solo effort, which starts at the gun, it seems really difficult to beat him over the distance right now. So what do you make? What do you think's the best way to beat Jakob in a race like this?
I think you don't beat him is probably the short answer, but I think these are a great post. They're also the post of the week. These Jakob Ingebrigtsen super smooth. Our running shirts are super smooth and soft, John. We'll give both these guys free Let's Run shirts. Salvatore Stichmo, XCFan2233. We'll be getting in touch with you. Shop.letsrun.com. And hey, if you're a Supporters Club member, you get 30% off in our store. Another reason to join today. And you save 20% on running shoes. It's a no-brainer. Join the Supporters Club today. But, John, yeah, you got to throw Jakob off his rhythm. If you just let him, his endurance is better than anyone. His absolute flat-out speed isn't. But so the speed, but it's the combination of speed and endurance is better than everyone. If you let him control the race from the front in a 5K, you will lose. You will lose every single time. So I think Stichmo's onto something. You have to try to like make him have a burst of speed, get off his rhythm. The 1500 is a little bit of a different event, but what did Jake Whiteman do at World in the 1500?
Well, it wasn't Whiteman. It was Timothy Chariot battling Ingebrigtsen for the lead. Like, Ingebrigtsen had to fight off Timothy Chariot about 3 times once Ingebrigtsen went to the front, and that basically softened him up for Whiteman to make his move with 200 to go. And that, I mean, I agree with you, Weldon. I think in general, when you're the very best guy, like if you have the best endurance and you're also the Olympic 1500 meter champion, you're not going to lose many 5000s. Like, this is, we can strategize all you want, but if you're the fittest guy in the field, that's just a massive advantage. And this is why Mo Farah, everyone's like, oh, how do we beat Mo Farah? Like, what's the strategy? It's like, well, no, he's just better than everyone. So most of the time, you're not going to beat him. But I think that's kind of the way it has to work, is you need either someone who's supremely fit, who can actually make those challenges themselves, like throw in a few surges with 1,000 to go or 800 to go and force Jakob to go to the gears that he doesn't want to use early, to force him, as he would say, to waste energy, fighting off these moves. Or you either work team tactics, you sacrifice, like if you're a Ugandan coach, and they don't all have the same coach, but Chalimo and Kiplimo are brothers or half brothers, I believe. If you say, okay, one of us is going to be the guy that tries to soften him up with 1,000 to go, and one of us is going to try to soften him up with 600 to go, and then the fittest guy, he's going to make the attack with 200 or 150, and that's going to be the guy we're going to try to win the race. I think that's one way to try to attack him, because I don't know if there's going to be one guy who's going to be fit enough to make all those attacks and then still be able to outkick the Olympic 1500 champion.
John, having a teammate, I think that helps. Or partner in crime. I kind of think that's what happened at Worlds in some way. You already mentioned Chariot battling him for the lead. I think that softened him up. And then Whiteman still battled for the lead at 200. And ideally, Jakob doesn't want to give up the lead there. But he was faced with a decision. He probably picked it up a little bit. Then he's like, oh, this is too much. And then he backs off, but boom, he just wasted a little energy. So I think that's the way to do it. In this race, in retrospect, what is Katir thinking, John?
I mean, maybe he's just thinking, if I can hang with him till 100 meters to go, I can go past him. But Yeah, I don't know. Is he noticing? Oh shoot, every stride is getting a little bit faster. I mean, we have some stats here from XCFan2233 Weldon that can show us just how expertly Ingebrigtsen closed this thing down. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's probably just hoping, hey, I'm hope I'm still with him with 100 to go and I can pull past him, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of natural, right? This guy's a bronze at the Worlds. He's a 12:55K runner. He can outkick almost anyone in the world. And we love to think we can outkick everybody. So that's how he's probably won races his entire career. What most people do, they like to sit to the final 100 meters, sit as long as possible and come on by. But with Jakob, it's not going to work. I mean, these splits you mentioned are amazing. Pretty much the last 100 meters, each 100 meters for the final 900 meters at Worlds and Euros, as XC fan points out, Jakob was getting faster. I mean, there's one or two exceptions, but 15.1, 15.3, 15.0, 14.9, 14.8, 14.6, 14.2, 13.7, 13.0, and a 12.8 final 100 meters to finish it off the Euros. You let him get to the front, he's going to wind it down like that, and that's going to crush everybody. Even a guy who's pretty much as good as it gets, a 1500 5K combo guy, right sitting on his shoulder, not having to draft, gets crushed.
Yeah, just look at those splits though, especially the last two, like 13.0, 12.8. So he closed 25.8 seconds for his last 200 at the end of a 357 1600 and a 223 1K, which is a pace, a 350 mile pace. Like most milers, that's quick for a miler. And to do that at the end of a 5K and to close in 25.8, I mean, yeah, part of it is just like, how the hell do you beat that?
You probably don't. XCFan also points out 223 for the 1,000 is 350 mile pace. A lot of these guys can't run a 350 miles, or that's pretty much all out for them. I mean, not for Katir, but I mean, Katir's sort of one of a handful of guys who's got great mile speed, very good at 5K, and Jakob's absolutely destroyed him. And it is interesting. I guess this was an overall slower race, but the final splits, the final 200 here was much faster than at Worlds. But I guess Jakob also at Worlds kind of had it wrapped up the final 50.
Yeah, he was celebrating by the end. I have a question for you, Weldon, though. I was seeing some talk on the message boards, and people were saying, like, oh, yeah, you need to make it fast. I mean, Jakob, he's never going to be able to run 12:35 like Chepta guy. I'm like, why the hell not? This guy said he thinks he's a better championship 5,000 runner. I can get that. And we've talked about him going after that 326 world record of El Garouge in the 1500, but do you think he can get the 5,000 world record at some point too? Because remember, he ran 12:48 last year at 20 years old. I feel like you put him in a good race, give him a few years. His endurance is already really good, but I don't know. I feel like he could also get that 5,000 world record if he really, really went after it in 2024 or something like that.
Wait, is it? It's 12:35.
Yeah.
See, mentally, I still haven't adjusted that somebody's run that fast. So I still can't think that anyone can actually beat that record. But I just said I'd never seen someone smoother in the world running 60 seconds a lap. And you pretty much have to run 60 seconds a lap to beat it, right? I mean, 60 seconds a lap is 12:30. Maybe that's the next great barrier. I mean, it's sick that somebody can run essentially, well, it's not 4-minute mile, but 4-minute 1600 pace for a 5K. It's beautiful the day somebody does that. Yeah, at some point, I want to see him try to do it. But I'd rather have seen which record would you rather see him beat, John?
I'd rather see him get the 1500. And I do think, all right, my prediction this year was that he was going to get the 1500 meter record at the start of the year. That was one of my bold predictions, along with Arian Knighton would win Worlds and Galen Rupp would win the World Championship Marathon. 'None of those came to fruition, but I don't know. I feel like you put him in a good race, give him a few years. His endurance is already really good, but I don't know. I feel like he could also get that 5,000 world record if he really went after it in 2024 or something like that. I'm taking, I'm going to say, can I take a mulligan on the Jakob one? I thought he was going to run Monaco. There was no men's 1500 in Monaco this year. Therefore, there was no world record. But I think 2023, the Monaco 1500 will be right before Worlds instead of right after Worlds. We saw right before Worlds this year. He went to Oslo and ran 346 in the mile, and he got the European record. I think. Wait, did he get that? He got the European record, right? He broke Steve Cram's mark for that. I'm pretty sure he did.
No, he missed it, John.
Oh, he missed it. Okay. Damn, he was right there though. Okay. Yeah, Cram was 346.32, Ingebrigtsen 346.46, so he did miss it. All right. But my thinking is next year in Monaco, he will go for the 1500 meter world record and he'll get it. That's my prediction.
It's sort of interesting, right? Because indoors, didn't he just miss the record? The few times he's gone for the records in the mile, he's come up short.
Indoors, he got the 1500 meter world record. He definitely 100%. He did break that record this year.
Did he miss something? Maybe a mile record?
He got beat at World Indoors, but he didn't. He broke the record. Like he didn't race much indoors this year, but he did get the record.